Good morning, everyone. You are all very welcome to this morning's webinar in partnership with Google Digital Garage and Dún Laoghaire Rathdown Chamber. With many elements of the economy reopening over the coming weeks, County Wexford Chamber and Dún Laoghaire Rathdown Chamber are hoping to upskill as many people as possible to combat the effects of the pandemic. County Wexford Chamber and Dún Laoghaire Rathdown Chamber are working with Google Digital Garage to deliver this 5-part webinar series. These 5 expert-led webinars will cover a range of topics that are vital to a business online. We will cover topics including optimize your ad campaigns with advanced strategies, smart creatives, reach the right customer with the right message, digital marketing strategy, expert workshop, scale your brand and advertise across borders, and social media strategy. These webinars will help our members to best position their business online as the economy continues to reopen. I hope you can take something from this morning's workshop and join us for the future webinars in the coming weeks. Without further ado, I will now pass you over to this morning's trainer, and I hope you all enjoy this morning's session. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. You're very welcome to this Google Digital Garage training session on how to optimize your ad campaign with advanced strategies. My name is Amy. I'm a trainer for Google Digital Garage. So just to tell you a little bit about me, I'm a digital marketing consultant. I've been working in marketing now for about 20 years and obviously in digital mostly in the last 10 years. On a day-to-day basis, I deliver training in digital marketing, but I also work with Irish SMEs on a daily basis in helping them with their SEO and SEM and ultimately helping them to create the kind of strategies that will drive traffic to their website and ultimately result in online sales. At this point, I would also like to introduce our moderator, Mel. Mel is also a Google Digital Garage coach and will be interacting with you and answering some of your questions via the chat function. You can identify Mel by her name, obviously, but also with the little blue spanner next to her name. Okay, so before we start, we want to call out a few sort of housekeeping pieces. So firstly, you're very welcome. Secondly to that, if you have any trouble viewing the webinar right now, please don't panic. Just try to refresh your page and hopefully that should solve the problem. If you do want to join in the instant chat, and we would encourage you to do so, you will need to be signed into a YouTube account, okay? So you can very easily set one up. It only takes a few seconds to do so. All right, then. So we'll be pausing throughout the session to answer the more complex questions from the chat box. We'll do our best to answer as many questions as time permits, or if the question is just we just don't have time to get into the detail of your question, we will be aiming to help you out with an email that you can contact us through after the session. So please feel free to share your pain points and ask questions throughout the session. And just to let you know, we are running this virtual Google Digital Garage training session as part of a broader series of webinars. And if you'd like to check out our schedule of upcoming webinars training, please see the information on this in the description box below. Feel free to share your experience on social media with any of your business peers, friends, or family who you think would benefit from these webinars, and make sure you use the hashtag Digital Garage. So this is one in a series of 5 webinars that are being run by Dún Laoghaire Wexford. And the next one is Smart Creatives, and it's about reaching the right customers with the right message. And we would obviously encourage you to join that webinar if you can on the 22nd of September. Also, feel free to check out the new Google for Small Business website. Absolutely do that if you do no other thing after this session. So Google for Small Business website, because it's a one-stop shop for the products, tools, and trainings that you need to help move your business forward. It's a great place to learn about all the free tools offered by Google to help you to improve your online performance and ultimately achieve more e-commerce online. Okay, so it includes a step-by-step online success guide to help you show up on Google and make sure you're ticking all the boxes. Helps you to create or improve your website and helps you to reach more customers and build brand loyalty. And there's also some advice there on how to even work more effectively from anywhere, so working remotely. So Mel will share a link to the Google for Small Business website in the chat now, or you can grab the link from the description box below. Lastly, and probably most importantly, if you have any feedback from today's session, please do complete the feedback form, link down in the description box below. And once you complete the feedback form, a link will appear for you to download a PDF of today's content. So we always get asked, will I have access to the slides? So yes, once you fill in that feedback form, you will have access to a PDF of today's content. Also, we'll keep this webinar live for you to rewatch for 24 hours on this channel. Okay, so you can watch it anytime over the next 24 hours. So that is this housekeeping done. So let's get into this session. All right then, so in order for us to warm up the chat function or make sure it's working and do a little warm up, I'd like to take a couple of minutes to hear about what you currently do to connect with your online audience. So how are you currently targeting your online audience? What do you currently do to connect with them? Hopefully this is a more constructive icebreaker than asking you what you had for your breakfast or something silly like that. So please feel free to share your answers in the chat. Okay, so I see here that Kimmy is telling us that she is currently on social media only, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Okay, very good. Thanks for sharing that with us, Kimmy. Anybody else? The more you participate, the more you'll get from the session. So feel free to tell us in the chat how you currently advertise your services to customers, or specifically for this session, how do you currently advertise online to your target customers? Any other takers? Maybe you'll share a little bit more with us throughout the day. We'll come back to that. If there's any other inputs, Mel will let me know. All righty then. So what is today's? Okay, so I see another one. Sorry, before we click to our next slide, important that we get as much feedback as possible. Okay, so Neve is saying currently Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, lush marketing, mostly social media. Yeah, it's all about social media. Sometimes you get too seduced by it, maybe. Yeah, don't do Google advertising. Okay, so for anybody who's not currently doing Google advertising, don't worry if some of this session sort of goes a little bit over the head. Just try to grasp the bones of it and use it as signposts for what you might do further down the line. I think the first set of slides, so up to about slide 13, are probably going to be the most beneficial part for you if you don't currently do Google advertising. So just a little tip for you there in terms of tuning in. But do tune into it all, because it will be of value and you will pick up useful learning for your sort of future journey into Google advertising. Okay, so we have three sort of key learning objectives for today. Okay, so three things that we want to touch upon. So we'll talk about a lot about measuring moments that matter. All businesses have different goals, so there's no one shoe fits all. However, today we're going to look at the types of conversions you can track to suit your business needs. So what is that telling us? Basically, that means that at conversion, so when we talk about conversions, and we'll discuss this later, we want you to think more broadly than just sales. Conversion can be anything that pushes your consumer further down the path to purchase. So if signing up for an email is a key kind of touch point or action that usually results in a sale further down the line, that's a moment that's worth measuring. Okay, so all the businesses have different goals, and it's important to think about your business goals and think about what conversions are right to measure. What are the conversions that are right to measure that will help you to reveal whether or not you're achieving your business goals? We're going to talk about multi-touch attribution. Okay, so we're going to talk about multi-touch attribution. So as a consumer, what are all the different ads, the video ad, the display ad, the search ad? How did they all contribute? They all contributed in some way to my decision to buy from you. Okay, so multi-touch attribution. We'll discuss why attribution value gives you a better understanding of how your campaigns perform, and shifting to a multi-touch model can help you optimize across the user's conversion path. Don't worry if you haven't heard this language before. We're going to walk through what it's all about. Okay, because ultimately what this session is about is showing you how you can collect data and use that data to make more informed decision when you're making decisions about bidding, about budgeting, and also about targeting when and where you're targeting your customers online. We want to talk about taking actions from insights. So collecting the data and analyzing the data is only one part. What action are we going to take? So your attribution data is only powerful when you act on it. So when you do something with it. So we look at how to shift to a multi-touch model and how to use these insights in your optimization decisions for things like bidding, budgeting, and targeting. So customer behavior is driven by owning multiple devices. Okay, so this is sort of an element of customer behavior that underpins how we have to think about our advertising. We're constantly hopping from one device to another. So I've got some statistics here online that are worth considering. So people can now research anything, anywhere, at any time. So I can go online and Google. I can be on the cliffs of Moher and I can Google and I can buy a dress from some brand right there on the cliffs of Moher, and I've done all my research, or maybe take the car back down and make my purchase in Clare or something like this. So Google, I think with Google's survey in January 2017 revealed that 79% of consumers use their smartphones for research before a purchase. And that 38% of customers move between digital channels before purchase. And we can all relate to this. We do it without thinking. Social media ad, back onto see an ad on YouTube, go into search then because we saw something we liked and we didn't have time to investigate it at the time. 60% of consumers say that mobile ads were influential in their purchase. So we're all about the mobile. 75% of people start an activity on one device, but finish it on another. So very common. Again, we can all relate to this if we think about our own purchasing habits. These statistics show that understanding and leveraging mobile behavior is critical to being a successful marketer. So no matter what game you're in, no matter what business you're in, you've got to leverage mobile behavior. You've got to get familiar with your customers or potential customers' behavior across different devices. So the customer journey can be long and complex, not only across time, but across devices. So we talk about customer journey and conversion path sort of intermittently throughout this presentation, but essentially it's sort of the same thing, okay? Invaluable insights, one of the key messages that emerges from today's session is that invaluable insights emerge when you use attribution. So this is a tool within your Google Ads and your Google Analytics when you use attribution to look beyond the final touch point of the entire user journey. So let's start with looking at these customer touch points on the slide here and discovering the moments that matter to your business. So measuring moments that matter simply refers to tracking and measuring user behavior. We want to know what parts of the customer journey is supporting us in reaching our business goals. So when you run an ad campaign, you want to see whether clicks on your ad led a customer to take a certain action. Ultimately, that's what you want to do. You want to find out, did clicks on your ad lead a customer to take a certain action? Many advertisers limit their definition of conversions to online purchases. And in fact, as a marketing consultant, this is one of the biggest problems I see every day. So for example, if you are a fairly new brand on the market, or if you are an existing brand that's just introduced a new line of product, it's not a good idea to just measure online actual purchase as conversion. There has to be other conversion points along the path. The research reveals that it takes between 7 and 13 touches of your brand for a customer to actually convert. So think about that. So you don't want to only measure the final conversion, which is the purchase. You want to measure and ensure that customers are doing the actions, taking the actions that they need to take that you know will lead to purchase. So it could be signing up to your email campaign. It could be viewing your full ad on YouTube. It could be following a lead magnet. So to get a more holistic, accurate understanding of the impact of your online ads, you need to track every moment that matters to your business. So that's exactly what I've said there. So tracking every moment, not just the actual purchase. A conversion is an action that's counted. Everybody listen up because it's important that we get this. A conversion is an action that's counted when someone interacts with your ad. For example, clicks a text ad or views a video ad, and then takes an action that you've defined as valuable to your business, such as an online purchase or a call to your business from a mobile phone. If you're selling cars, it's probably not likely that someone's just going to buy it online there and then. They're probably going to go on your website, and what you want them to do is make a call to your business so that you can make the sale, maybe offline. Conversions are measured with conversion tracking, which we will cover later in this session. Alrighty then, so over to you guys again. You're in the hot seat a little bit. So we want you to tell us, what conversion types are you currently tracking? So be honest, if it's just sales at the moment, if it's just online sales, tell us. That's okay. You're in the right course if that's the case, because we want to enlighten you as to why you should be tracking other conversion actions. Anybody got any examples of conversion actions? So maybe I'll throw out a few different conversions that you could be measuring, because maybe you're not even thinking about the fact that you're measuring these, okay? So how about phone calls to your business, like we said? How about email signups? Subscriptions, maybe contact me form, filling out a contact me form or a consultation form. Remember that the conversion type that you choose should be relevant to your business goals. Okay, so it should all start with your business goals. Okay, so we have 25% market share. We want that to be 35% market share in this sector within the next 12 months. So how does that translate? What conversions can you look at that help you to work out if you are achieving that business goal? Okay, so I'm looking at some examples coming in. So we've asked the question, what conversion types are you currently tracking? So Etsy conversions and views to sales on my website. Okay, not sure what else there is to track. That's okay. Cross-hire contact forms, good. Email link, phone link on our website. Brilliant. They're great examples. Exactly. And it's great to know that you are actually tracking those as well as just the final purchases. A few more examples coming in. All righty then. All right then, no other examples, just a message from my moderator. All right then, so hopefully this next few slides are going to be easy for you guys. So not all businesses have the same goals, and it's important that we do spend time on this part of the process, because if we're not tracking the right conversions, if we're not tracking the conversions that help us to measure whether or not we're achieving our business goals, everything else is wrong from that point on for our business. So it is important worth to give this consideration. And when you're looking at these slides, think about your own customer journey, and maybe different segments of your market have different journeys, but do try to think of your own customer journey. So not all businesses have the same goals, and not all of you will need to track the same conversions. And some of them we've already mentioned, but think about what conversions you currently track and ask yourself if they relate to your business goals. What else is adding value to your business along the customer journey? So the examples, you've given some great examples there. Some other examples are newsletter signups, leads, which I think were mentioned by Crossfire there, pages visited, phone calls, users reached. And this is where we sort of get to the crunchy bit now. Tracking a variety of conversions can not only positively highlight where things are working, but also let you know where you're losing customers. Okay, so where you're losing customers. Let's see. I see Neve, Una O'Leary, email and phone. Okay, email and phone. Brilliant. Okay, great to know. So these are the kind of obvious ones. So there's sort of three stages you might get from, okay, I've realized, I've copped on that I need to measure more than just my actual online sales. I need to be measuring the other actions that customer are taking that are signaling to me that they're likely to make a purchase. But there are some other less obvious ways, less obvious things to track. And we're going to look at those in the next slide. Okay, so you go from just tracking your sales to tracking sort of the obvious ones, but then let's look at these ones in the next slide. So a little bit more obscure. So tracking different types of conversion actions gives you a clear idea of what is working for your business. Think about your customer's journey and keep doing that for your own business during this session. What does it look like from first interaction with your brand to purchasing your product? And have you considered to track these actions? And it's well worth, there's loads of tools online for doing this, but it's well worth mapping your customer journey out. So some of these may have been mentioned. I'm not sure if they were. Let's have a look. So cross-device activity, and thanks, by the way, for your interaction. It's great that you guys are engaging. So with 26% of smartphone users in Ireland using 5 or more devices, tracking cross-device activity, it says here, could be useful for you to know, but I think we'd say it's a no-brainer. Okay, so tracking cross-device activity is absolutely essential. In-store conversions. So shopping in-store has remained important, right? So this is sort of a sort of a peculiarity. We're more into the in-store shopping still in Ireland. The research has shown shopping in-store has remained important for Irish customers when safe to do so. 54% of people surveyed back in 2019 said that they purchase in-store weekly. Can we guess why? Because they want to touch and feel. They want to interact with products before they make their buying decision. And I think it's fair to say the higher the price point, probably the more that is true. Brand perceptions. What do your customers think of you? What are they saying about you? We all know word of mouth is as strong as ever with social media, and you can track your brand being mentioned with brand-specific keywords and phrases, and with other tools like Google Alerts. App downloads. Are customers interacting with your brand through an app instead of your website? So again, that's another type of conversion you can measure that mightn't be as obvious as the ones in our previous slide. In-app purchases. How many purchases are through your app, and how does this compare to the amount of app downloads? So what percentage of purchases are occurring based on app downloads? Number of app. Post return. So first, why did a person return? So this is about people coming back to us, potential customers coming back to us. Why did they return? And second, did the person convert the first time round? And if not, how can you convert them the second time they visit your site? Keep in mind, even if someone didn't convert, and even if they didn't convert the first time, you made enough of an impression for them to come back to your site. So that's good. There are so many different types of conversions to track. Tracking a variety of conversions lets you see which keywords, ads, ad groups, and campaigns are best at driving the most valuable action to your business, and we're helping you to work out where on your journey you need to pay more attention and ultimately probably spend more money when it comes to ad spend. Alrighty then, it's just checking in on time. We need to move on. Okay, so conversion tracking is a tool that shows you what happens after a customer interacts with your ad, as we've said. So shows you what happens after a customer interacts with your ad. So hopefully everybody is familiar with the conversion tool in the Google Ads account. If not, don't worry, just if you take away that it is there. So conversion tracking starts with you creating a conversion action in your Google Ads account. So under the tools and setting tab in your Google Ads account, okay, that's where you find your conversion tracking tool. A conversion action is a specific customer activity that's valuable to your business. You can use conversion tracking to track the actions we've been speaking about. So there's some, I'm not going to run through all these examples, but I will talk about some of them in the interest of time. So for example, website actions, purchases, sign-ups, and other actions, how long people are spending on specific pages, for example, actions that customers complete on your website, such as page clicks and views, app installs, phone calls. What about import? Customer activity that begins online but finishes offline, such as when a customer clicks an ad and submits a contact form online and later signs a contract in your office. So that's something interesting to think about, and it's good to know that we can track it because it's often the case in the real world. So here's an example of how we can measure online leads through to offline conversions. There is a typo in this slide. I'm very proud of myself that I noticed it. So I just, in the interest of avoiding confusion, I'll tell you where it is now in a second. Okay, so you can measure online leads through to offline conversions. So here's the little journey from online lead to offline conversion. The user clicks on an ad and arrives on your site. The user submits the lead form. So maybe it's arranging a consultation, contact me. The Google Click identifier is passed and stored in your database, and the leads or sale is closed offline. It says here in our slide in step 4, the lead or sale is closed online, but for this example, we want to imagine that the lead or the sale is closed offline. You then upload your offline conversion data. Okay, So you then upload your offline conversion data, but the main thing is that you put the process in place so that you're uploading that data so that you can capture that online to offline conversion. All right, then we're going to take a quick pause for questions. Any questions? Let me see. All right, so we will keep going. Okay, so next we're going to be discussing the ways in which we can shift to something called multi-touch attribution. So attribution models, for any of you who are new to this, are tools that you can use in your Google Ads and your Google Analytics accounts in order to get a better sense of exactly what part of your advertising is influencing what your customers buy, when they buy, and how they buy. Okay, so we're going to talk about multi-touch attribution. All right then. Bear with me here. We're getting a little bit complex, but it's okay. I'm sure you can handle it. But we will explain. It will become more obvious as we continue. I'm just conscious of anybody who's new to all this. I know some of you will be familiar with the terminology. So an attribution model is the rule or set of rules that determine how credit is assigned to touch points along the customer's conversion path or journey to purchase. We want to find out which conversion action holds the value for our business. Understanding where to assign the value helps fuel your business growth, helps you to spend smarter on your ad campaigns. So at Google, we've developed a variety of attribution models in Google Ads that help you understand the moments that matter to your business. Okay, so we've attribution models in Google Analytics and in Google Ads, but for now we're going to focus on the attribution models in Google Ads. Okay, so before we go deeper, let's take a look at how an attribution model can help your business. So have you ever booked a vacation in one sitting on one device? Have you ever booked a holiday in one sitting on one device? Probably not. Probably not. Okay, so we're going to give an example of a customer journey here. So this lucky person is in the position where they are considering having a week away in Italy. Okay, so the booking process probably looks more like this, more what happened with this person. So Sunday morning, while still in bed, you search on your phone for a week in Italy ideas. You scroll through a variety of blogs, websites for ideas. Maybe you have a quick dip into TripAdvisor. Day gets busy, forgotten about. Still in your head, Tuesday morning, during your coffee break at work, you Google bed and breakfast Naples, Italy. The idea won't go away. You really want to go to Italy. And now you start seeing hotels and deals coming up. So maybe you see some search ads, for example. Wednesday evening, while watching videos on your tablet, maybe Netflix or YouTube, you see an ad for a hotel that you've liked from the other day. Okay, so this is Google display advertising. On Friday morning, you search the hotel you liked on the dates you want to go and you book. So we can see all the different steps in the journey and how all the different ads contributed to this person's decision. So this is just an example of one customer journey. But we can all relate to the amount of steps involved if we think about our own purchasing habits, or better still, if we think about our own customer journey. So as a takeaway from this session, it will be really valuable for you guys to go off and map out potentially what you think your customer journey looks like using this example here. We were doing this in a classroom. That's probably what I'd ask you to do. Okay. So when looking at this purchase path, where did we give credit? Which part of the process should be assigned a value and why? So that's something that we want to think about. So let's look at each part of this path to purchase or path to conversion individually. So the first click initiated the purchasing process. So whatever we saw first initiated the purchasing process. The last click was also important. It was the final interaction before the purchase. And oftentimes we are only measuring the last click. But then the two clicks in the middle connected to get the two together by influencing the decision. Attribution, this is where attribution comes in. Attribution helps you connect the dots to make it easier for you to understand and act on these purchase journeys. Once you understand your user's path and start to identify which interactions yield conversions, you'll be able to invest more in those interactions. So every time somebody sees that certain display ad, they tend to go on and book. There's a higher likelihood that they book, for example. So let's use our holiday example. Say the advertiser notices that many vacation bookers use their mobile on the go, because remember that you can look at what devices your customers are using. So if you notice that more bookers are using their mobile on the go to learn more about vacation destinations, then you can decide to invest more in mobile, whether this is through adjusting bids or improving the mobile user experience of your website. When you know what works, you can invest more in it. So it's all about gaining better knowledge about what works and taking your customer to that final purchase and decision so that you can be smarter about where you spend your advertising budget. All right, so as we have seen, on the path to conversions, customers may do multiple searches and interactions with multiple ads from the same advertiser. Attribution models let you choose how much credit each ad interaction gets for your conversion. Attributing value gives you a better understanding of how your campaigns perform and help you optimize across a user's conversion path. It will help you to understand your return on investment and therefore be able to make more informed decisions about your ad spend. So when we're thinking about attribution or using attribution models, there are sort of 3 dimensions that we need to think about. So we need to think about cross-device activity and how people move between devices, user behavior across mobile, desktop, and tablets. We need to understand intra-channel activity and how people interact with a single channel, such as Google Ads across campaigns. So how you interact with a single channel, but across campaigns. And we need to understand multi-channel activity and how people interact between all your marketing channels like email, direct, Google Ads, etc. So user behavior across different advertising channels. There are a lot of benefits to using the Google Ads attribution model. So let's have a little look at those now. So why do you want to use your Google attribution model? So a lot of these are practical reasons why, but ultimately because it will give you better insight into the different touch points that your consumer that occur along the purchasing path for your consumer, and the how effective different ads and keywords are across that conversion path. So ultimately, it's about having more information to make an informed decision about how to spend your advertising budget. But the practical sort of benefits are, it's available to Google Ads users, so all Google Ads users. So the tool is there, you don't have to pay any more money or anything like that. Once you've set up an account, you'll have access to tools. It's easy to compare and select a model, so it's easy to decide which model is best for your business and to compare those models, because different models, which we're going to look at different attribution models now, different ones will suit different businesses. Cross-device attribution is also easy to measure. It allows you to organize data across multiple devices into a cohesive analysis. So attribution models are allowing better data analysis and better analysis of data across different sources. Gives you a better idea of how seemingly unrelated touch points and sessions, so sessions on mobile, on tablets, on desktop, how seemingly unrelated touch points and interactions are connected. It's personalized to your business. So when integrated with Google Analytics, you can personalize for your business. You can personalize the attribution model, and we'll touch on that later. It's a flip the switch setup, so very easy setup, and it integrates seamlessly with auto bidding to use that newly attributed data for more overall conversions. All right, so let's just conscious time, so let's fly on. So what we're doing on this slide is we're having a look at the different attribution models that are available within your Google Ad tool. Okay. So last click, this is the default one. So last click gives all the credit for the conversion to the last clicked ad and corresponding keyword. So just the last click. It doesn't matter how many different video ads or display ads someone's looked. If it's a search ad was the last click, that search ad will get all the credit. That's the last thing they click before the purchase. First click gives all the credit for the conversion to the first clicked ad and corresponding keyword. Linear, time decay, and position-based are 3 what we call multi. We'll explain a little bit more about that, but these 3 are are multi touch points. Okay, so let's look at time decay first, because it's the next one on the slide. It gives more credit to ad interactions that happen closer in time to the conversion. So credit is distributed using a 7-day half-life. In other words, an ad interaction 8 days before a conversion gets half as much credit as an ad interaction 1 day before a conversion. So that's time decay. Linear, it distributes the credit for the conversion equally across all interactions on the point. So display ad, search ad, social media ad, it gives equal credit to all interaction. Position-based gives 40% credit to both the first and the last ad interactions and corresponding keywords, with the remaining 20% spread out across the other ad interactions on the path. Okay. Data-driven. All right then, data-driven is a bit special because it's not rule-based, it's data-driven, and it's only available to us, to those of us that have quite a bit of traffic going to our site. But just bear with me while I explain it to you, and I'll give you some idea of the level of traffic you need for data-driven. So data-driven distributes credit for the conversion based on your past data for this conversion action. It's different from the other models in that it uses your accounts data to calculate the actual contribution of each interaction across the conversion path. Note, it's only available to accounts with enough data. We're going to look a little bit more closely at data-driven in a minute. To optimize your ad campaign, we would suggest that you use multi-touch models. And that's the term I was looking for when I was struggling a bit earlier. So multi-touch models are linear, time decay, and position-based. You can do more research yourself into which ones suit which type of business goals best. We're going to touch on it here, but you can do more research. Oftentimes position-based, if data-driven is not available, position-based is often the one that's recommended. So last click and first click are single touch models, as they only assign value to one touch point. Models that assign full credit to a single touch point don't account for multiple interactions in the customer journey. You're not getting the full picture. Changing your attribution from last click, because it's going to be set on last click if you've never changed it before. Changing your attribution model from last click to data driven helps determine which of your ad interactions are most impactful, and then gives you the information you need to know where you should spend your advertising budget. Data-driven attribution will be a desirable model to use as it assigns a value to, so in an ideal world, it's the ideal model to use as it assigns a value to each ad interaction that has contributed to the conversion process and helps drive additional conversions at the same cost per click. Okay. So I'm just having a quick look now. Let me see, 26. Yeah. All right then. So let's have a look at data-driven in a bit more detail. I hope this slide doesn't freak anybody out. Just bear with me. I'll walk through as best I can. Remember, if you've never seen data-driven before, you're a bit confused and you've never seen it as an option when you looked at attribution models, it could be because your account doesn't have enough data yet. So I'm going to talk to you through in a little bit more detail. I can see there's a question there. I'll answer it when we get to the pause. Is that okay? All right then. So data-driven attribution is a customized model that uses machine learning technology. It uses your historical data to assign the appropriate value across touch points, and it should be the ideal solution. So you should be striving towards this, get more data into your account so that you can use data-driven attribution. It's different from the other attribution models in that it uses your conversion data to calculate the actual contribution of each ad interaction across the conversion path. Each data-driven model is specific to each advertiser. So if you've got 2 or 3 different businesses, their data-driven models could be very different, even though they're using similar touch points like display ads, search ads, video ads. It's a customized model, which is always good. Data-driven attribution looks at all of the clicks on your Google search ads by comparing the paths of customers who convert to the paths of customers who don't. So it's also looking at the paths of customers who don't. And remember, the average conversion on any site across industries is 3%. So that's 97% of traffic that's worth analyzing. And that's what data-driven, that's why it's sweet, because it also looks at the people who don't convert. The model identifies patterns among those ad interactions that lead to conversions. And maybe there may be certain steps along the way that have a higher probability of leading a customer to complete a conversion. The model that gives more credit to those valuable ad interactions on the customer path. The model then gives, more credit to those valuable ad interactions on the customer path. Just keep an eye on my time there. This means that when you're evaluating conversion data, you'll see which ads have had the greatest effect. You'll see with certainty which ads have had the greatest effect on your business goals. And if you use an automated bid strategy to drive more conversions, your bidding will use this important information to help you get more conversions. So this is gorgeous. This is the place where we all want to be, where it's based on real data, real performance behavior from our customers, and then it's feeding into our automated bidding. Data-driven attribution, ears up everybody, this is the important bit, requires a certain amount of data to create a precise model for how your conversion should be attributed. Because of this, not all advertisers or businesses like you guys, not all of you will see the data-driven option when you go to choose a model for attribution. As a general guideline for this model to be available, you must have at least 15,000 clicks on Google search. So that level of traffic, 15,000 clicks on Google search, and a conversion action must have at least 600 conversions within 30 days. So it must have at least 600 conversions within 30 days. If data-driven attribution is not available, there are the 3 other multi-touch options that we mentioned earlier on. So your linear, your time decay, and your position-based. And we're going to have a look at how each one would respond to each goal. So as we've said, time decay is the one that gives more credit to ad interactions that happen closer to the time of conversion. So often recommended if your consumer has a long conversion path. So maybe a big purchase, maybe a high volume, a high value item. Credit is distributed using a 7-day half-life cycle. In other words, an ad interaction 8 days before a conversion gets half as much credit as an ad interaction 1 day before a conversion. Linear distributes the credit for the conversion equally across all ad interactions on the path. And position-based gives 40% of credit to both the first and the last ad interactions and corresponding keywords, with the remaining 20% spread out across the other ad interactions on the path. So in our Italy example, the stuff that the person looked at, they started on Sunday, they finished on Friday. So position-based gives 20% of the credit to the stuff that happened from Tuesday to Thursday. So you can see there's a loose guide to how you would align the model. Remember, we're all the time trying to make sure our conversions lead into our business goals, and all the time trying to make sure that the model that we choose sort of aligns with our business goals. So a general guide, and you can do more research into this yourselves, a general guide is that if you have a conservative growth strategy, I don't know if any business would say they have a conservative growth strategy, maybe, time decay. So dependent, I guess, if it's a new product. If it's a moderate growth strategy, linear. And if you have an aggressive growth strategy, position-based. All right, then. So we'll keep going. All right. So we ran a sophisticated econometric study isolating the impact of switching to Google Ads attribution, which showed that simply by switching models, advertisers say on average 5% more overall conversions. They saw 5% more overall conversions at a similar or lower cost per action. So the key message here is non-last click attribution drives better performance. So if you don't have access to data driven, use linear, use time decay, or use position based. As mentioned before, it's very simple to switch, and we're going to quickly have a look at how that works now. We're nearly at questions. Alrighty then, so this is us in our Google Ads account. Okay, it takes 2 minutes to switch your ads attribution model. You head back to the Tools and Setting tab in your Google Ads account. In Tools, click on Conversions. Click the conversion action for which you'd like to change the attribution model. So in the example on the slide, it is sales. And then select Edit Settings on the right-hand side. When you select sales, you're going to get the box that's on the right-hand side of the slide. And then you click on Edit Settings. You can see default use last click model, but you're going to edit that and you're going to change it to a multi-touch attribution model. Probably position-based if you feel you don't fully know what you're doing yet. Okay, so we've got 15 minutes to go. I think we're good for time. I just want to have a look and see what questions are coming in and see if we can answer them in this session. Let me see. Okay, so there's a question from Catherine at Crosshire. Hi, Catherine, thanks for your question. So you're saying we don't do sales conversions on our site. We do business to business. So we're just looking for leads. How do you do attribution for that? So you're looking for leads. So the lead is your conversion. So what does a lead look like, Catherine? Think about, is it a phone call to the business? Is it an email? Is it filling in a form for a consultation? What does the lead look like? And then if you're starting out with attribution models and you don't have the data available to do data-driven, go with the position-based attribution model. And you can compare models. We look at this in a second now, but you can actually compare models because it might take a bit of trial and error to see which model actually is giving you the best information. All right, which model is giving you the best information? If people are really tuned into this and really turned on by it, we alluded to Google Digital Garage at the start. There's loads and loads of amazing free training sessions available from Google that you can do. They're really easy. You can do them while you're cooking the dinner. They're like bite-sized chunks of information while you're standing in a queue. You can do quick training. If you want to learn more and become more knowledgeable and be more competent in using, more confident in using attribution models. Okay, give it a try and see. Give it a try and see. Take the data you've learned today, look back over the slides, rewatch the webinar if you can, and then start to build on that knowledge with your own exploration. But remember, the first part is right. It's the most important. If you get that wrong, the rest won't matter. What are your business objectives, and how and what conversions do you need to measure? So in Catherine's place, leads, she needs to measure leads. So you know, what conversions is she going to measure to get a sense of what ads are impacting on leads or how she can generate more leads. So thank you for that. Okay, so let's now turn our attention to leveraging our insight. Okay, so we have an attribution model set up at this stage. We have lots of new insights to help us to optimize our decision around what customers do before they buy, what ads are working, and help us decide where we need to maybe add more budget or maybe reduce budget. So one thing that we want to definitely do is link your Google Analytics and your Google Ads account. All right. So again, this is pretty straightforward to do. It can get a bit tricky, and Mel will share a link in the chat that will guide you through how to do this. But I'm also going to walk you through it on screen. If you still can't do it after following the link that Mel shares, do reach out to Google support and you will get some assistance with helping you to walk through that. So linking it, why would you do this? So linking your Google Analytics property to your Google Ads account. So remember, Google Analytics tells us what people are doing on our site. What do they do when they get on there? How much time do they spend on each page? What page did they exit our site on? You know, all that information. So linking a Google Analytics property to your Google Ads account will allow you to analyze customer activity on your website after the ad click or impression. To link your Google Analytics with your Google Ads account, sign in to your Google Ads account, click the tools icon in the upper right hand corner of your account as detailed on the slide here, and under setup, click linked accounts. Under Google Analytics, click details. All right, so in terms of access, to link Google Ads and Google Analytics, you'll need administrative access to Google Ads account and edit permissions to Google Analytics account. And if you don't have the right access, it will tell you. For unlinking and editing an existing link from the Google Ads, only admin access to a Google Ads account is required. So only admin access if you want to unlink. Additionally, only active Google Ads accounts are eligible for linking with your analytics property. So only active Google Ads account are eligible for linking with your Google Ads property. So if you've let your Google Ads go by the wayside, maybe today will inspire you to go back in and have another shot at it. So now your accounts are connected, you can start seeing your attribution data for real. Okay, so really good attribution data. Remember, your new attribution data is only powerful when you act on it. So like any data we collect about our business, collecting the data is only one step. Looking at the data is only one step. It's what we do with the data that counts, okay? So it's important that we adjust to our new attribution models. So changing attribution model alone does not change performance, okay? So there's a sort of misconception out there that changing attribution model might make it look like you have less conversions for a Google ad campaign, but it doesn't. It can't. The attribution model cannot change the number of ultimate conversions that are recorded in your Google Ads account. You're just looking at the data differently, okay? So one thing we want to do is rethink time ranges when we're analyzing our data, okay? So use appropriate time range to suit your business goals. Usually 30 days is recommended, but to be honest, it's only from, working with the tool, trial and error, that you'll work out what's most appropriate for your business. When selecting the data range for your analysis, a good rule of thumb is to exclude the most recent few weeks from your analysis to avoid the effect of a time lag between click and conversion. Okay, so to avoid the time lag. So try not to include data from the most recent weeks in your analysis. Try and make it at least 2 weeks out. Google Ads report conversions according to the date of the ad interaction. And since a non-click attribution model shares conversion credit between multiple interactions, each of which happened at a different point in time, the time lag associated with your campaign report may increase. As a result, you may see a temporary slight dip in conversions for very recent days after changing your attribution model. And the last sentence is the most important to remember. If you see a dip in conversions for very recent days after you change your attribution model, don't panic. Give time for the data to play out. You also want to revisit your bids and your budget. So you want to maybe rethink your bidding and your budgeting. So if you change your attribution model, you should update your bids and targets for each conversion included in the conversions column. Otherwise, the change in conversion attribution may result in over or under bidding on a certain keyword, for example. If you only use manual bidding, performance will not be impacted until you begin to, it won't be impacted either positively or negatively until you begin to optimize based on the new data. So we would urge you to consider auto bidding, okay? So if you only use manual bidding, performance will not be impacted positively or negatively until you begin to optimize based on the new data. So do consider auto bidding. Be aware that switching your attribution model will most likely shift conversion. So hopefully everybody is still with us because we're getting into the sort of heavy stuff here. We are, okay, so we've 7 minutes left. So let's keep moving, but just bear with me. Be aware that switching your attribution model will most likely shift conversions. So what do we mean by that? So after you change your conversion actions attribution model to a multi-touch model, so you change from maybe first click to position-based, you should expect to see some changes in your campaign reporting, naturally. Upon transitioning to multi-touch model, it's common to see a shift in credit towards mobile devices and upper funnel non-branded keywords, okay? You may also see what we call fractional credit. So that makes sense. If you think about it, credit for a given conversion is distributed between contributing ad interactions according to your selected attribution model. And as a result, you'll see decimals in your conversion columns for the first time. So I think we have an example here. So for example, if you select a linear attribution model, a user follows the key path, keyword 1 to keyword 2, and then converts. Each keyword will display 0.5 or 50%, depending on the way you like to think about it, in the conversion columns from the conversion. So that's what we mean when we say you'll see decimal points for the first time. So further changes may need to be considered, and it's just important that we are aware of this. So multi-touch attribution should impact where your budget goes. So for example, on this slide, in this time decay model example, clearly generic paid search is a priority. It generates a large portion of the revenue. So it would make sense to relocate the budget as is shown on the right hand side of the locales of the side, generic paid search budget at reallocation up by 20%. Because the key point here is that because of the better, more accurate data that multi-touch attribution models provide, you can reprioritize campaigns and see significant improvements. The simple point here is that once you have new data, you should do something with it. So we have another pause for questions now. Okay. All right, so I'm just looking at a question here from Dynamic Marketing. Thanks for your question. All right, can you give me a... So within your campaign, within your Google Ads campaign manager, you should be able to pick up that data. Sorry, I'm not seeing a name. I'm just seeing Dynamic Marketing. So sorry that I don't have your name. For this session, you know, the time is probably not here to properly take you through that, but you should certainly be able to get the data. So you're asking, you're saying not related to attribution models, but can you give me a breakdown of what my daily budget is spent on? Keywords, audience, anything else. So basically, when you set up your ad campaign, you just should decide what your daily budget is spent on. Maybe you're using smart campaigns, but if you look at the campaign data, you should be able to work out where your budget is being spent. Okay. And certainly, again, using attribution models is getting a little bit deeper into it. So it should give you even more data in terms of where it's been spent and, more importantly, what's having the biggest effect. That's a very short answer to what is a big question there, but I would encourage you to really spend time exploring Google AdWords and maybe doing some of the modules on the Google Digital Garage training platform in order to get a better sense of how you can see that data. All right, then. So let's see, 57, 3 minutes left. We need to move on. Okay. So before you go, let's do a summary. What do we want to do? What are the key steps that we need to take to optimize our ad campaigns? We want to make sure we're measuring moments that matter, correctly tracking all conversions that matter, consider tracking a variety of conversions. Remember, it's not just all about the final purchase, and remember to track conversions that relate to your business goals. Make sure you understand multi-touch attribution and have a go at using it. You can always change back. Non-last click attribution drives better performance. So don't just use last click. Try something like position-based, linear, or time decay, and use the tools available on Google Ads, and also use the training on Google Digital Garage to learn more about this. Make sure you take actions from your insights. Connect your Google Analytics to your Google Ad account to get even deeper customer insights, and use data to drive bidding and budgeting decisions, and also targeting decisions. So what are your next steps? So, oh, did I skip a slide there? So thank you all for tuning in today. Yeah, I hope it's been useful. Dive into optimizing your ad campaign with advanced strategy. We've covered a lot of information, but we've covered a huge amount of information, and I hope we didn't blow anybody's mind. I suspect that people are at different levels with this, which is fine, but we're going to give you a few pointers in terms of what you should do next. Okay, so one of your next steps should definitely be to check out the new Google for Small Business website. This is a one-stop shop to find the right tools and resources for your business, from the step-to-step online success guide to the digital toolkit and the tips for dealing with COVID. With COVID-19, I would strongly encourage that you visit that website, even if you're pretty au fait with the whole online marketing space, and you feel comfortable with your online marketing. It's just amazing what it will reveal, even to businesses that are pretty active online, or the different tips that you can pick up. You can discover how to show up on Google, how to create or improve your website, how to reach more customers, how to build loyalty and work effectively from anywhere. And Mel's going to share the link to that important site with you now in the chat. As I mentioned at the beginning of the session, if you are interested in more training from Google Digital Garage, there are a few ways you can continue learning. We're running many more Google Digital Garage webinars in different subjects, and if you'd like to check out the schedule of webinars, please see information in the description box below. There will be different topics available to watch, and we'll be updating the schedule regularly. We'll also be leaving this video, remember, on this channel for 24 hours. Plus, if you'd like to carry on learning online in your own time, check out the Google Digital Garage website that I've mentioned a number of times. Highly recommend it for more online training courses, which are available to you 24/7. If you'd like to share your experience with other businesses who you feel would benefit, or maybe your family and friends, please do share on social media with #DigitalGarage. And finally, if you have any feedback from today's session, please complete the feedback form, which is linked down in the description box below. Remember to also that you will get the slides when you fill in the feedback form. So nothing left to say except thanks for joining today. We hope you found the session beneficial, and we hope to see you again at another Google Digital Garage training session. Thank you.